Declan McCarthy. Welcome, mate.
And then I started filming content. Some videos started doing all right. I was just enjoying it. It wasn't anything that I ever thought would, perhaps become a full-time job. You do get a little bit of a rap and for being a little bit of a showkeeper or, camera saved and top corners only. Like, I have thinkers, of course. That's a lie, actually. I've never considered it. My influence on younger keepers is probably a lot bigger than I realise sometimes. So I started goalkeeping at 21, I believe. So I'm 26 now, so I've only been keeping for 5 years. I was 12, maybe 13, and I signed for Bournemouth. Training all week, you're knocking your pipe out thinking, like, I just want to be a footballer, I just want to play, and I want to prove that I'm good. And you go home and I'm in tears. Like, I had a keeper who was League 2 at the time, and he messaged me and more or less battered me. I was lucky enough to do some sessions with like Luka Zidane, Isco, like Zinedine Zidane, like loads of mad names. One day you could be in the hospital handing out letters, and you might find yourself at a Prem club on trial the next.
What a save from Mark Howard.
Huge shout out to Forged Irish Stout for being part of this podcast. Listen to that beauty. An unbelievably smooth, creamy stout by Conor McGregor, the UFC legend. Not here to take part, but here to take over. Forged Irish Stout is on a mission to become the biggest Irish stout. Conor McGregor has taken over the whiskey game. Now he's about to take over the stout game. Me and my guests will be enjoying a few cans in the next few episodes. If you fancy checking it out too, make sure you hit the description below and find out where you can get Forged Irish Stout. Forged Irish Stout will be available in Asda nationwide come August. Let's get back to the podcast. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Yours Mine Away podcast with me, Mark Howard. Today I'm delighted to have a special guest in with me today. You've got loads of experience from talking to you already behind the scenes and that, but a lot of people will know you as the ideal GK, Declan McCarthy. Welcome, mate.
Thanks for having me, mate. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, no, obviously buzzing. I've seen a lot of your content and stuff online and that, so just chatting to you for the last 20-30 minutes, mate. You've got some story as well.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different than what people imagine. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get into it.
Yeah, well, we've both recently come back from trips to America, and as I've said, I'm struggling with the jet lag. I don't know about you.
Yeah, just getting over it now, but yeah, it's definitely been a tough week, and back to reality is not easy as well. So.
No, I hope people bear with me. I am tired. I'm not going to lie to you.
Been up since 2, ain't you?
Yeah, since 2 o'clock. So we're filming this at 11, so we should be all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, a lot of people will know you from social media and stuff. I want to crack straight into that first because that's where everyone will know like your story a bit. Why? How did this come about?
So I was sort of playing football non-league at the time when I started filming content. I think I'm in my 5th year now. Maybe I'm coming into my 6th year of doing content. I was kind of going back and forward with playing football and playing non-league and also coming through as an academy player. And then I started filming content. Just literally one day, just decided I'm going to film and I'm gonna train and just start putting my stuff out on Instagram. That was a platform I was initially using. Some videos started doing all right. I was just enjoying it. It wasn't anything that I ever thought would perhaps become a full-time job or certainly not. Everyday life for me now is content. So yeah, it was just a hobby for me. I really enjoyed doing it at the time. And yeah, I've not really looked back. I've kind of and ahed about football and career and everything like that. But yeah, I love what I do now, and I'm incredibly lucky to do so.
Yeah, obviously, like you said, you're pushing content out and that. And I've seen you make loads of saves and stuff like that. And there is a stigmatism about social media goalkeepers.
Yeah, definitely. You do get a little bit of a rap and for being a little bit of a showkeeper or camera saved and top corners only. But I think of the times I've trained with professional keepers, which is pretty much every week, I'm regularly training with a professional keeper, whether that's Premier League if I'm super lucky, and Championship, League 1, League 2, and even Conference and non-league keepers. I'm not just a showkeeper. I think everyone's pleasantly surprised with sort of the standard of my keeping, but I do understand you do get a rap because certain things do have to be entertainment because otherwise
100%.
Yeah, and as well, you have to get paid. So when you're trying to leverage with brands and speak to whether it's, I probably shouldn't name the brands, but big brands which might be gloves and it might be kit and it might be boots. you need some sort of pull, and normally the showy stuff is what gets engaged with.
But a highlights reel is exactly what it is. It's meant to showcase the best bits. It's meant to show what you can do.
Yeah. I always get as well, like, people are like, why don't you show the goals? Why don't you show the goals? I'm like, no one really cares. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to see you concede loads of goals. So, like, why is anyone that fussed about me having stinkers? Like, I have stinkers, of course. That's a lie, actually. I've never conceded a goal. No, but, like, I don't think people... I don't think it's engaging. I don't enjoy watching goals go in. So, like...
Well, other goalkeepers aren't going to tune in to see you make mistakes or let in goals constantly, because they're not going to be learning, especially like the young audience that we both have.
Yeah.
They're not tuning in to hear about all the negative stuff. They want to see like what positive stuff, what saves you do make. They want to see the good bits.
Yeah, and I think anytime I've put out longer form stuff, if I've been training with a pro, like a handful of pros, whatever, but like, I'll always include the goals because it's a full session and you'll see everything, and then you will see me concede goals. When you're watching Instagram and TikTok, like, you're more so trying to inspire younger keepers. So, like, I don't think a younger keeper wants to see me throw one in or have one go through my legs, really, and you know, that's not going to give them a kick up the arse to go out and train. You know, so yeah, that's the story behind the Instagram stuff.
No,
anyway,
and the realisation is like when you're letting a goal, you make a mistake, the defenders will throw their arms up at you, you'll get shouted at. But that don't make good content now.
No,
that's so negative. It's not inspiring.
Exactly, yeah. So the thing for me is to inspire, and like I feel lucky every day, but every so often I'll look out and think, like, you know, probably the influence is probably a lot bigger than I realise that I've had on younger keepers. I obviously get a lot of messages and comments, and everything's for the most part really positive, and I think my influence on younger keepers is probably a lot bigger than I realise sometimes. So yeah, I'm proud of what I've done over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, right. I want to go back to the start of your footballing journey then, because this is a different. You're probably the latest bloomer that I've ever had in the studio.
Yeah. So obviously people pick up goalkeeping really late, and I certainly was extremely late. I started goalkeeping at 21, I believe. So I'm 26 now. So I've only been keeping for 5 years.
That's incredible, mate. That is actually incredible.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the sort of standard I've got to. I can join in with professional keepers and feel comfortable and not look, you know, too far out of place, which is great.
Most goalkeepers start at 6 years old, 7 years old, so really you should be performing the level of an 11, 12-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, I was
full
in the
credit
beginning.
to you. Yeah. Like, it's amazing how far you've come along and progressed. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think a big thing for me as well is when I talk to younger keepers is, again, sort of like the inspiration behind it or whatever, is like I got to what I believe is technically the standard of a professional keeper of some sort in the space of probably 3 or 4 years. So that if that doesn't, I always say to like younger keepers, you've got a way bigger head start than I have. Like even if you start at 16, 17, 18, like you can get to that standard. Granted, I'm quite a natural athletic person, but I had to work really hard. I was training Monday to Friday, just at a local pitch near me, horrible training grounds, and like no, I've never been coached, and that's what people probably don't quite grasp as to what I've done is like. The only time I've been coached would probably be 5 to 10 times in my life as a goalkeeper.
As a goalkeeper.
So, yeah, for me, it's an inspiration thing that if you're a young keeper and you're thinking, I can't do it, or, you know, I really would love to have a go at it.
You went out and did it.
I went out and did it in a very short space of time, you know, from a technical standpoint. You know, the younger keepers have got a much better chance than I have. So.
Right, let's rewind before 21 years old then. So you came through...
Right back to the beginning.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, let's go from there.
So I started playing football for as long as I can remember, probably, like you said, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. I played locally just for a team near me. I'm based in Southampton, and the team was Eastleigh, which are, I'm sure you know, Eastleigh, a conference team now.
Played against them last year.
Yeah. So I played just locally at Eastleigh, a few years at that. Really enjoyed it. Obviously, I was a midfielder, centre midfielder at the time. Like to think I was a technical player. I certainly wasn't a nasty player going around smashing people. I was just trying to get on the ball and play. I trialled probably at 11, I think, for Southampton and Portsmouth Football Club. So obviously Saints, I think, were a Premier League side. Pompey would have been as well, actually. I think about it at the time. So I trialled there. None of them quite worked out. I think I broke my leg, to be honest, at that time. Anyway, got a horrific injury. My brother actually broke my leg.
You tried to brush over that.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about it now. I've not thought about it for some time. My brother broke my leg. It was my fault. Anyway, it didn't work out at Saints and Pompey, and that was fine. Went back to playing, obviously, after I got over that. I think I was just 12, maybe 13, and I signed for Bournemouth. I was obviously watching me as a player doing all right at Eastleigh, just a local club, and I was lucky enough to get a contract at Bournemouth. I was actually trialling also at Reading at the same time, so I was going Tuesday night. I don't know I'm sure you know what it's like. Tuesday night, Thursday night training as an academy player.
Mum and dad driving you across the country. Yeah.
Mum and dad is just fuming. So like Tuesday night, I was going to Bournemouth. I can't remember whether I was doing like a week on, week off. So I might have gone Tuesday, Thursday, Bournemouth, then the following week Reading.
Yeah.
And I was doing really well and really enjoying it. I was actually offered a year at Reading, and I think 2 years as like a, I say contract, but a 2-year deal, whatever, at Bournemouth. So I chose Bournemouth, went to Bournemouth anyway as a midfielder. God, in my head now, it's like so much has happened, which I don't even think about anymore because of the keeping. So obviously that's as a midfielder. Signed for Bournemouth. I was with Bournemouth up to 16 and then was lucky enough to get offered a youth team scholar. So that's when in my head, when I think football's becoming quite serious. Yeah. And I remember at 15, 16, you'd get day release. You remember day release?
Yeah,
like you get a day off school.
Day off school, go and
you'd
train
be buzzing,
early.
like you was pissing off all my mates, being like they're going to maths and I'm just pissing off down to Bournemouth on the train to train. And so got a youth team scholar anyway, and I was obviously becoming very serious about football. My experience as a youth team scholar was like fantastic, but extremely hard because although I'm a big lad now and I'm tall and strong and whatever, at the time I was probably 5'7", 5'8", maybe, and really skinny, not very strong,
just not developed yet.
Still very much a boy, and like I remember a lad who I played with. I think he played at Gillingham as well. It was Joe Quigley, big monster, and he was like my height now when we was about 12, and I remember thinking like, this is going to be so hard, and anyway, didn't play hardly at all. I think I had a handful of games in my first year as a scholar, which was heartbreaking for me, obviously. I mean, in your first year, you're not necessarily going to play all the time, and
you're getting used to training every day, your body developing and getting and we call it DOMs now, but like getting used to training every day, repetitive.
Like people don't quite realise the commitment of obviously there's a lot of perks to being a footballer, but like it's not glamorous, and the physical side of it was probably too much for me as a boy. So I remember training or living away from home in digs. I had a host family and lived with a couple of other players, which was class. Like, it's such a fun time, and there's probably some stuff happened which I can't say, but it was a really fun time. Physically, it was just I struggled as a boy. So I remember training Monday, Tuesday, recovery day Wednesday, so we might jog down the beach and have a stretch. So it was, it was a piss take really. And then
you didn't really. You went out chasing birds, went to the cinema with your mates and that.
Thursday, and then Thursday, Friday, we back in and training in it. Off the top of my head now, probably in at 8:30, do gym. We probably get to the training ground, which was right by the airport in Bournemouth because we didn't have a training ground then as a club.
A few jobs as well.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, I think I was talking to my mate Cal in Dubai a couple of months ago, and I feel like we were the last, just about him and me was like the last age group where like it was just normal to have jobs like cleaning boots, carrying all the
sweeping
equipment,
dressing rooms,
cleaning up, like that whole thing. I just feel like from what I hear now of youth team players, it just seems to be gone. And I don't know, maybe they're all just protected. I feel like as well when I was a youth team player, it was horrible. Like people were just evil. Like it was just different.
It felt like that, but it's just grounding, isn't it? It's just getting that discipline in place. But now, technically, it's not their job description to come in and clean boots and clean the dressing room.
I think they're there to just be a footballer and get on the pitch and like. I mean, I guess that's probably what you should do, but it was different when I was a little bit younger. But I don't see too much of that anymore. But anyway, so in my first year as a scholar, I didn't play hardly at all. I think, like I said, maybe a handful of games where I was playing. A lot of sitting on the bench, a lot of not in the team.
It's a hard age to go through that sort of stuff as well.
I just wasn't ready, like, especially when you're really young. The physicality doesn't really matter. When you go into like under 18s and everyone's actually becoming men, and it's like you see 18-year-olds now and they could be 30. That's what it's like for me as well. And I physically couldn't compete. I'd say technically I was one of the better players in the side, but it didn't mean anything if we got bullied.
Because you were slightly underdeveloped then, like as a boy, was your teammates around you that were not as talented getting called up into first team training sessions because they could physically cope more?
Yeah, so like obviously it would always be the bigger lads who can go up and they're playing the 21s or they might go into the first team. And like for me, it was like that was never even on the cards. Like you could be like, they might say, oh, we need someone to deliver balls. And like if it was whipping in crosses or whatever, Deck's fine. Stick him in, like no problem.
Technically perfect.
Like again, I don't want to blow my own trumpet too much, but I believe I was technically a really decent player, which probably shows with the kicking now with keeping as well. So got to the end of the first year and again it was amazing for the boys and like being around that and obviously you're at a league, I think it's League One club at the time, and it's like the best thing ever. We might have been in Championship at the time, not sure. Anyway, and best thing ever, but go home on the weekend and don't play on a Saturday. So you're training all week, you're knocking your pipe out thinking like, oh, I just want to be a footballer, I just want to play and I want to prove that I'm good. And you go home and I'm in tears, like literally crying on the weekend, and people don't see all that. And it was like, for me, it was tough. I remember going home to my mum and my dad and just being like, I don't want to be there. I just can't do it anymore. And it doesn't sound like a really hard life being a footballer, but like the mental side of it is 1,000 times worse than what you think you'd experience. So.
Is that just then you're going in day to day, but it's like constant knockbacks, and because you're away from home, you ain't got a release, have you? You haven't got your mum and dad until the weekend, and then you bottle it up for that week. Yeah, you go home and it just
all you want to do is cry, and like I just go home and I'll be buzzing because I can go and see my mates and it's normal. I mean, Southampton to Bournemouth's only an hour, if that, but like I couldn't get the train in every day. Obviously, I can't drive, so living away from home was really tough. And the two lads I live with, I lived with a couple of lads before, but the two lads I lived with for the bulk of the digs was Callum Buckley, who was physically like class, and he was a proper player as well. I think he's playing at Weymouth now, or Dorchester, near me. And Matt Butcher, who was at Plymouth, so he's doing really well as well. Yeah. They were physically much more developed than me, so they probably couldn't even relate. So when I was going back to digs, and they're playing every day, like every Saturday, and I'm just like, fucking hell, all I want to do is go home. Yep. It was just so tough for me. So anyway, went back home on the weekend, speaking of mum and dad, having loads of arguments, especially with my dad. Obviously, my dad was also a sportsman, so he sort of understood it, but very old school and just get on with it and tough it up sort of thing. Get your head down and crack on. But he was a boxer, so like he was very much like just fucking get on with it and whatever. And that's what I don't no problem with that. It made me a lot stronger. But anyway, got to the end of the first year and I was pretty much broken with it, to be honest. I was talking to Rob whilst we was away. It was just a horrendous time for me because like you're going in, you know what it's like. You're working so hard and you think like I'm training. I'm thinking I'm decent. Like there's no problem here. And you get to a Saturday, you're not even in the team, and you're like, fucking hell, what am I going to do? And I had a massive blow up with my mum and dad about it, and just said, I don't want to do it and I'm not going to do it. And then I remember ringing my coach, Joe Roach at the time. Yeah, Joe Roach. I remember ringing him up and just saying, look, I know I've got another year. It could be a second year. But I just said, I don't think it's for me and I'm going to go and play elsewhere and I need to be playing. In hindsight, I still think that was probably the best thing for me at the time. It's a brave decision at that age. Especially with a second year. Yeah. And like I think there's also a bit of a persona about being able to say you're a footballer and people think, oh, it's amazing. Like, I didn't really care. It never bothered me anyway. Like, so I remember ringing him up and he said, I don't want that to happen. You've got another year. And he said, can you play in a 23s game for me? And I think it might have been against like QPR. I can't remember. And it was on 4G in Bournemouth called Camford. Really nice like facility. And I was just like, no. And he said, I really don't want you to go. I think you're technically really good. He said, obviously you're physically struggling. Yeah. Can you just play in this game? And it was like on a Friday night. I remember calling him early in the week, and I was just like, no. Like I just said, I can't. And I think that just showed how ruined I was with the whole process of it, because if someone's offering you to go and play in the 23s, you're playing with good players. A lot of players who would have been from the first team coming down, trying to get fit, like proper players who'd probably gone on to be in the champ in Premier League. And I just couldn't do it. I remember just saying, thank you, but I'm really, really don't want to, and I've had enough. And
that's brave. It's a strong decision as well. But when when you've come to that decision, you are done then, aren't you? You're like, you know.
I was finished, and that, like, I wasn't finished in a sense of like with football. I just knew that like maybe I might have gone and had a blinder, and they've gone, oh, this kid's class, and we'll give him a chance. But for me, I don't think it was going to be the difference.
Did you get a sense of relief after that phone call?
Oh, massively, yeah. Like, and I think when I think about how old I probably was as a first year, it was a very mature decision, and like
it's massive. Man.
Yeah, I mean, I probably didn't look very mature every week crying because I was going home with mum and dad, and and as well, like it's hard because your family are always biased. Your missus, your mum, your dad, your family, they're always going to think you're the best player in the world. But like, I knew I was a good player. I just knew that physically I wasn't there, and yeah, just it was. I think as well the youth team I was in, I think there was this real strong side. A lot of them gone on to play, and one actually played for Bournemouth in the Prem last season. Or might have been season before actually. Jack Simpson, he played against City, and he was again like when we were younger, he's not necessarily the best player in the team, really good, but physically he was brilliant. And he's gone on to play, and it was a strong youth team for sure. So, that's that. I'm going to cry in a minute.
don't cry, right? No, before you cry, then we'll just do some quick fire questions, and then we'll get on to about after Bournemouth stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
perfect.
okay, right.
Yeah,
so, like, I've just got a few general quick fire questions. Right, catch or parry?
Parry.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I was actually excited for you to say this. No one said this yet.
Yeah, but you know what though?
It makes good content.
Yeah, sure, but you know what though? I've got a funny thing on that. You know when like people say train how you play, half the things I catch in training, I know that if I was in a game I wouldn't catch it.
You parry them.
I parry them, so I always just like, I don't want to like, I remember training with someone in America and he was like a D1 college keeper. And like I parried something and he was like, why don't you catch that? He was like, you can catch that. I was like, yeah, but I wouldn't catch that in a game. Yeah. So I'm not going to train a habit I'm not actually going to use.
Yeah.
Like
practice what you preach.
Yeah. Anyway, but I'm not anti-catch either. I don't mind the catch.
I'm pleased you said that. You're the first person that said that. But I do agree with you to some extent that like in a game you don't get to catch a lot unless it's in your body.
Yeah. Exactly.
So anything when your arms are fully extended, there's not many catches anymore.
No chance. Like I remember when Raya did one a couple of seasons ago from a free kick, and everyone was like going crazy about it. It's because no one catches really. Like you're only going to catch if it's in that bubble, around, like you say, around your body, and you're parrying everything otherwise.
I love it. Right, favorite kit color.
I like the luminous, like the green or the yellow, like like the proper loud colour, like that. Yeah,
goalie kit.
Yeah, proper keeper kit.
Who's your favourite ever keeper? See, you had only the 5 years of goalkeeping. You wouldn't have even bothered to look at them before.
I'm an Arsenal fan, so it's probably Seaman, I suppose. It probably has to be.
Would you have caught the back end of Seaman's career then, or was you against Lehman?
I would have caught the back end of Seaman's for sure, but I'd watched loads of highlights and stuff.
Of course,
but Lehman was just a freak. So
he's a beast. Yeah, I love him, man.
Yeah, class.
Who's your inspiration?
Inspiration
in anything.
Well, probably my dad. It's probably going to have to be just being a professional sportsman and very old school, and probably why we clashed so much. But I think my dad was extremely tough on me, and I would never have a bad thing to say about it because it was made me in a decent player, I suppose. So yeah, probably my dad.
Bit of tough love there. Yeah. Long sleeve shirts or short sleeve shirts?
Short sleeve.
You're short sleeve.
Yeah,
you don't even wear Under Armour.
No. I should do though. His arms are in bits now.
Right. Who's the best goalkeeper in the world right now?
That's really tough. It's like overall keeper. You'd probably have to say Alisson, I suppose, but I like Courtois. Yeah. Only because he's just a freak.
He makes mad saves.
He makes ridiculous saves.
I think it's Alisson, but just because of everything.
Yeah, I like Edison as well.
Yeah, distribution.
Kicking's mad.
Head tennis or goalie wars?
Goalie wars is just good fun, isn't it? I don't think head tennis is all that. It's all right, but goalie wars is fun.
It's good, isn't it? Yeah. Right, and then last one, save a penalty or score a goal, both last minute.
Save a penalty.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
No, it's got to be score a goal.
You reckon?
Surely.
What do you mean, as a keeper?
As a goalie.
Oh, as a keeper, then score a goal. I just thought you meant
I'd love to go up the last minute and just notch.
Yeah, it'd be
I think you just become immortal then.
Yeah, you would.
Save a penalty, like the next season someone's forgot about it.
Yeah.
If you go up and score a goal,
that's forever, isn't it?
You're written in history, aren't you?
You seen the overhead kick? That I don't know what league.
It's mad. But it bounces first. It's some tickers. It's so flexible. I can't do that.
No, he's done that.
Right. Obviously, like I said, I want to talk a bit more about your after Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And going and playing non-league and then discovering that you're going to be a goalie.
Yeah, mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're sorry.
Go through this, right? So you left Bournemouth.
So I left Bournemouth.
Did you have a break from football?
I did, yeah. To be honest, I'm trying to work out in my head now when it was, but I didn't kick a ball. I imagine it was after Bournemouth, to be honest. But I didn't kick a ball for a year. I didn't play, didn't do anything, and like, I don't regret that either. I think I needed that.
Like you walked away from the game.
I completely
pretty much,
walked away from football. I believe that was as soon as I was out of Bournemouth. I believe. And then like a year in, and I'm sort of at that age where you start thinking about work and what you might be doing. And I remember my mum coming into the bedroom and just saying like, "What are you going to do then? Like, you know, you have to do something. Like you know." And I was probably a bit depressed with the whole thing. Probably. I'm not a very down person, but like I think I probably was just defeated at that point. And then Mum started talking about jobs, and I remember thinking, "Fucking hell." Like
the real world.
The real world.
The real world hits home.
And you are a little bit like, you're a bit oblivious to what you might end up doing until you're out of football. And like, I remember thinking about, she'd say about jobs, and my dad wasn't really like that. He was just, he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing, figure it out. Mum was like, what are you going to do? You're going to get a job? Are you going to play again? What do you want to do? And I went and I was like, I'm not going to, not as in I'm too good to work, because again, I've got a good story with that too, but like, I was like, fucking, I couldn't get myself to go and get a normal job and everything like that at the time. So I started playing. I've become like almost like a third year scholar, if you want to call it that, at Howard and Waterlooville. So I've done more or less season and a half there or whatever. And that was good. I was training with the first team. I was playing games, obviously, as like a youth team player still. I was obviously older. And that was great for me because physically I was way better. So as well, this is the other part. In that year I didn't play, I shot up to 6'3". So like, I'm like maybe 6'4". So like in that year, I'm like, fucking, this is terrible timing. I've come away from Bournemouth. I've turned down another year. I could have gone and whatever. And I'm now physically a man. I'm strong and I'm faster and all that sort of stuff.
That's
so
fucking luck.
It was mad though, because like we'd have bets when we were younger whether I'd even make like 5'10". I was tiny.
Way.
I was like a midget, and then like shot up to 6'3". I'm like, I'm gonna go and play. So I went and played at Havant. I trained with the first team a lot. Lee Bradbury was the manager at the time. He's now the EC manager. Yeah. I still see him now because he plays the same golf course as I do, and he always says, "You want to come down or whatever?" And I say no, but proper ledge. He was great for me as well. Every time I trained with the first team, he was class. I think you could see that I was a decent player. And then I was kind of getting to the point where it was like, right, I'm either going to go and play am I going to go play in the first team, or am I going to go and get a men's club and play? Yeah. And I was kind of in that time, I believe on a Saturday, I was playing for, I think it was Poole Town, which is a Bournemouth-based team. Sorry, there's a lot of blur because I was at so many different stages at this point. I was playing Saturday at Poole Town, in and out of the team. Again, I was really young still, probably 18. And then thought, oh no, that's what happened. Sorry, it sounds like I'm making it up now. I'm trying to figure it out. Played in a friendly, I think it was, against Gosport for a pre-season. And Alex Pike was the manager at Gosport. Spoke to me and just said, I'd love you to come over. And it was a lot closer to me anyway. And I thought, if I'm going there, I want to play. And they were in the Conference South, so it was obviously a decent level. And I thought, this is unreal. Like, this is felt to me like a break. And in hindsight, it was an all right move. But at the time, I was like, Conference South, like that's obviously where a lot of league footballers will get loaned out to. A lot of league footballers will end up playing. A
lot of scouts as well.
A lot of scouts, yeah. So I went to Gosport Borough, playing in the Conference South for the back end of the season. I was playing. I think I played 15 games, something like that. And I was again 18, 19 years old, getting all right money. I think I was on a couple £100 a week, and I thought, oh, I've sussed it here. I'm flying and playing for Gosport. And to be honest, I was playing brilliant. I was really happy about I was playing. I had a few man of the matches, and I was still a kid, so I was in my head. I felt like I was probably making a bit of a name for myself in a very small world. Yeah. Gosport, I then signed for Gosport for the next season. I think I played the first half of the season again. And I don't know really why, but I was enjoying football. I wasn't loving it. I was enjoying football, but I just sacked it off. I don't know what happened at the time. I just was like, I'm just not interested in trying to be a centre midfielder. Again, this is all as a centre midfielder. I'm not really loving it. And I then was like, I went home and mum and dad had sort of cooled down with the idea of football because I was still earning money. I was like, I'm gonna go and goal, which is mad.
Mad,
when I think about it now, it's like, what was I doing?
Just wanted to be a goalie, mate. That's all it was the whole time.
Do you know what, though? When I was around that age at Bournemouth, 12, 13, 14, I remember saying to my mum, because she was a lot softer on me, I want to play in goal. And she was like, what are you on about? And like, it's just stupid. And I was like, no, I really enjoy it. Like, I'd love to do it. And I said to my dad and that, and he was like, he was fuming because he was like, you're at a good club. You've got
playing a decent level.
You're playing a decent level. You're a good midfielder. What are you talking about? I had a few instances like that where I would just be like, I want to play in goal, and I never did. I remember buying a pair of gloves at around that age. Well, I say buy. Mum bought me some gloves
straight down JJB.
Yeah, and I was just knocking about in goal. I wasn't really training. I was just like, oh mate, just kick the ball at me, and I'd love it. And I guess maybe I got the bug then and didn't realise. Anyway, fast forward, I've obviously gone to Gosport and I'm playing. So I forgot where I was going with this now. Where was I? I was trying to think what I was about to tell you. Oh, sorry, yeah. So I've started going in goal. The first time I really went in goal properly, where I thought I'm actually going to do it, was the first time I uploaded on Instagram. So
that's crazy. Your first thought was, I want to be in goal.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to upload this.
So I was getting to that age.
That's brave again, mate.
Yeah. Again, I was opening myself up to a lot of problems with like a lot of scrutiny, and that was fine too. I didn't, whatever. I'm not expected to be good. I've never been in goal. So I was getting there at like 20 years old mark, something like that, around the time. I'm trying to think how long I stayed at Gosport. But anyway, little break, started going in goal, uploaded some stuff on Instagram. And I remember training with Patrick O'Flaherty. He was a Bournemouth keeper, and he was class, to be fair. He was great because I got to train with him, and like I was crap. Like that's the thing. Like I didn't just magically
become a goalkeeper. No, you wouldn't have done it. 20 years old, never played in goal before.
So I was terrible, and like I look back at it, and if anyone follows me, you can go back to the first videos, and you'll see that technically I was shocking. Yeah. Couldn't dive left. Like anytime the ball went to my left, I'd like turn over and get onto my right. So it probably made it look like even more of a camera save. Training with Pat, I was uploading videos. It was doing all right. I was thinking, oh, this is quite cool. I'm quite enjoying this. And I didn't think I was good. I definitely wasn't there thinking I've sussed it. I'm legend goal. Like I was no good. And I had a few videos. Like I was just some like top corner saves or whatever. Because to be honest as well, I was extremely naive to the position. I didn't know like how hard it was.
The disciplines.
It's so much harder than being an outfield player. Like people don't really get that. So I'm uploading videos.
I love that sentence. Say that again.
It's so much harder than being an outfield player.
You are correct.
Mate, but it is because I've done both now, and like it's just totally different. It's like a different sport. And then a few videos, there's a big share page called 433. They shared a couple of my videos, and before I knew it, I had like 30,000 followers within a couple of months. And I was like, it's different now. It's not so easy to grow on Instagram, but like I remember thinking like, oh, this is quite cool. But I never thought, oh, this might lead to a job. I just thought this is pretty cool. And
just enjoying the ride.
Yeah, I just thought this is good fun. This like people think
it's crazy. It's brilliant.
And in my head, I was like, I'm robbing a living. It like not that I was getting paid, but I'm certainly not a good keeper.
I love the naivety though that you had.
I had no idea.
Yeah. But that's like it's obviously that's why you were probably endearing at a time when so many people got behind you and followed you because it was just like you just having a good time trying to play in goal.
Yeah, and like I remember, I won't mention who, but I remember like I got to, I don't know, 50, 60,000 followers at the time, and I remember thinking like, this is class. Not for 1 second did I think I'm really good. Yeah. I was just like, this is just good fun. I had a keeper who was League 2 at the time, and he messaged me and more or less battered me.
No way.
I couldn't believe it. I know the keeper. It's weird because he messaged me less than a year ago and said like, oh, do you fancy a session? I love what you're doing. And like if he ever listens to this, he'll probably know it's him, right? Yeah. And whatever. Anyway, he literally messaged me and was like, he more or less said, you're terrible. Why are you uploading videos? Like, I couldn't believe it. I just thought like, this is out of order.
That's not part of the union.
No, I couldn't believe it. I mean, like, I'll tell you the lad after.
Membership.
I'll tell you the lad after we finish with the video because I don't want to do that. But like, anyway, he messaged me a year ago and he was like, oh, like, unreal, love what you're doing. Do you want a session? I just thought, what's wrong with you? Like, you can't just hammer me when I'm terrible. But that's just so fickle. But anyway.
Probably hoping you don't remember.
Yeah, 100%. And anyway, got a decent following. And I was becoming obsessed with goalkeeping. That's the thing. Like, I love goalkeeping, and like you said before, I'm actually really geeky on it. I watched the England goalkeeper training. I watched Fabianski training at Swansea at the time, I think it was. I watched like every single training thing you could imagine. And in my head, I was just enjoying it, but I was actually studying it. Like, subconsciously, I was like watching.
That was your coaching.
That was me coaching.
Yeah, you wasn't getting goalie coaching,
no one
so you're
me.
learning yourself off these videos.
I remember watching Jack Butland at the time, and I always thought, like, he just looks class. Like, he looks technically so good. He does everything properly. I remember watching him and thinking, like, I want to keep like that. So I started, like, again, I guess it was me being coached. I was just watching the sessions, and then, like, he's obviously taking a volley and stepping with it and you know, and finishing off every save properly. And I remember thinking, like, I can do that. Like, there's no I might do it terribly, but there's no reason why I can't try to do that. Yeah. I started doing that. I was all right, and I was, you know, just watching the England keepers, watching everything you could on YouTube, and I developed really quick. I started, like, I could fool you to think that I've probably been in goal for a little while, and you wouldn't know I just took it up. And yeah, I was just training literally probably Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday for the first part. That's before I got a job, because I realised quickly that football wasn't paying me and I needed to go and get a job. So in the midst of that, I got a job at the Southampton hospital. So this is weird, right? Because I've got that many followers, and don't get me wrong, that doesn't equate to money. But I was at the hospital on probably 800 quid a month, which is not, don't get me wrong, it's not no money, but it's not a lot of money. I had 100,000 followers.
Wow.
And I was literally just working in the hospital. So weird. And I was like, people were like, what are you doing in that? I was basically handing out posts. So I was going around getting letters, going into all the admin offices, like everything you could imagine.
Bellboy, yeah.
I was like the Joey, and it was fine. Yeah. Like, because to me, I was so naive to anything, because I'm quite a, like, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. I was, like, so naive to anything. I thought, this would do me. I'm just handing out posts, making videos and getting loads of views, and, like,
didn't have a clue.
I didn't have a clue what was going on.
Mad, that's so good though.
Yeah, so I worked at the hospital for a good while. Like, I'd like to think I'd done my stint of graft.
When was the point then you realised, having such a large following, that you could actually start making money from it?
So,
because that must have been soon. That must have been soon after that point. Kind of,
but to me, I was like, that's a lot of followers, and it certainly is. And I just thought, like, I never thought about money at all. I never thought, like, this is going to become money. And I know we were speaking before about gloves. The first real money I got was a small glove brand who offered to pay me for, you know, to use their gloves and tag them in posts and everything like that. I was getting paid 150 quid a month, and to me, I was
that must have been like winning the lottery.
Oh mate, I was like, I'm flying it. All I need is 10 of these, and like, you know, that's what I thought. Like, I'd really sussed it, and I hadn't, but I thought that this is class. So they were paying me, and I was working at the hospital, and you know, doing social media and whatever. And then one of the biggest things that sort of got me away from working there was Gymshark had reached out and said to me, we'd like to, you know, like to wear our kit in
brand
everything.
Ambassador.
Yeah,
role,
brand ambassador, whatever you want to call it. And I thought, I remember saying, am I okay to talk about numbers a little bit?
Of course you can, yeah.
Okay, sorry. So I remember...
It's good content.
Yeah, it's probably interesting for people to hear as well, but like, because a lot of the social media worlds, they're quite secretive about the money. I don't, you know, whatever happened. There's certain things I won't say, but like, anyway, I've gone up to, it was a marketing manager who reached out. His name's Jason. He's a legend. If you ever watch this, Jason. He reached out, messaged me on Instagram, and generally I reply to everyone. So that was kind of a good karma, that because I engage with people that have looked after me, I got a good deal. And he said, I want you to come up to Birmingham and see the offices. We're quite interested in sort of bringing you on board. And I just thought, I've had people send me kit. It's just going to be some kit.
Yeah.
And he said, like, what's the ideal situation for you? So I've gone up to Gymshark, and I thought, I'm just going to come home with a load of kit here. And I said, I'd love to do this full time, because I explained I work in a hospital and I hand out letters. And he was like, "Oh, what do you earn at the hospital?" And I lied. He won't mind.
Added a bit of tax on,
I said, I don't know, 15, 20 grand, something like that. And he was like, "We'll give you that to do it full time." And I remember thinking like, "You're joking." I should have said 40.
Yes.
No, but I was.
That's a natural reaction. Of course it is. Yeah.
But again, like I was such a naive young man. I had no real concept of what was normal. And it's only really in the last couple of years as I've understood maybe the worth of social media, for whether that be a good thing or not. But they made me a contract offer, and it was around that much. And I remember handing in my notice at the hospital, and I was thinking like, this is class. Like, I rang in a couple of sick days, and I've left the hospital, and I'm doing it full time, and Gymshark are paying me, and somewhere in the midst of that, obviously getting some more endorsement deals. I remember doing something with Adidas at the time. I was lucky enough to do some sessions with like Luka Zidane, Isco, like Zinedine Zidane, like loads of mad names. I remember going to London and meeting Dele Alli, and like there was just loads of crazy stuff started happening.
So would you be, obviously it would be about them, but you would be the goalie in goal if they were doing shooting drills and stuff like that?
Pretty much, yeah. So all the stuff, if you look back on YouTube from some of the previous stuff, I'd done some stuff with Gymshark and then Adidas, and I'd be the keeper. I wouldn't have to do anything crazy. They weren't asking me to present, Sky Sports. It would just be like, just jump in goal and you do your thing. And before I knew it, I was earning decent money, like nothing crazy. There's a bit of a misconception, nothing crazy, just good enough money that I was like, I'm quite comfortable.
A little appearance fee for turning up that day.
And it was good as gold. And it took me some really brilliant places. And obviously got to the point now where, sorry, I go jumping back and forth, but let's go back to the keeping. My keeping was getting really good, and like that was just solely hard work. I wasn't a gifted goalkeeper. I don't really think that really happened. So it's rare, isn't it, that you're going to get someone who's just naturally gifted in goalkeeper. It's just hard work. Because it's just hard work, and like I'm athletic and all that. But my keeping was getting really good. So I was catching better. I was diving better. I was making better decisions and everything like that. And then like. There's so much weird stuff that sort of happened in the midst of all this journey. Is like I won't mention who, but it was a Premier League keeper coach, right? And I was starting to look all right at this point. I was thinking, I could go and play a little bit. I never thought, I'm brilliant, but like a Premier League keeper coach, and he said, you look really good, and how tall are you, and what you're doing. I'll tell you who this is after as well. You'll definitely know him. And he said, I'd love to bring you in on a trial to this club. This was a Premier League club. They're still a Premier League club. And I was thinking, this is ridiculous because I'm nowhere near good enough. Yeah. But I wasn't going to say that. So I was like, I'm playing it cool. Sounds brilliant. I'd really love to do that. Because I wasn't bad at the time. Certainly not like I am now. I just wasn't bad. And he said, what's your background like with playing? And that was what completely killed me. I should have lied. And I said, I was too honest because I was naive. I just said I've not played and I've only been a keeper a year and a half, couple of years or whatever. And then he said it's probably not gonna happen. We're not gonna bring you in. So it went from we're gonna have you on a trial. And don't get me wrong, not that I thought it's gonna go anywhere. But I thought, what an experience and what story.
But see, if you'd have just said, I came through at Bournemouth, but didn't ever mention that you was an outfielder, if I said, you'd have got that trial.
1,000%. And even like, I think not many people really know that now about me as well. If I said I was a Bournemouth scholar and I played in the Conference South and I was I would have gone on trial there. That's and that club now, I won't say the club because then it's, but
we can put two and two together.
You'll figure it out. But that club now still in the Premier League, and like I still speak to the guy. Like he's good as goal. He watches all my content, and I'm due to do something with him at some point. But had I lied, I would have been, which is an absolute farce. But I would have been trialing at a Premier club, and I was nowhere near it. I think now if I were to, I'm not going to say I'm a Prem keeper, but I think if I went into a Prem club now, let's say it was Saints because they're on the doorstep, and I trained, you wouldn't be like, I don't think you'd be like, God, he's terrible. I think, you know what I mean? I think you'd just be like, he's ended up on trial here.
Yeah.
And that's that. But like, that was another mad thing that sort of happened. Sorry, I keep going
I like the tangents, mate. I really like it.
That was ridiculous, and it should never have really happened. But it just shows how mad football is.
That's it, yeah.
And one day you can be in the hospital handing out letters, and you might find yourself at a Prem club on trial the next.
That's crazy. It's some story. That,
Crazy, yeah, mad.
No,
Isn't
it's
it?
nice.
I'll tell you after, because you'll know the guy, and you'll go.
I think I already know it.
Oh,
is.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm guessing who it is. Anyway, right, we're going to do our goalie or no goalie now. I'm going to fit this in.
I've been dreading this.
Yeah, everyone says this, right?
Because I know I'm going to get this so right.
You're
wrong.
not meant to get it
No,
right.
no.
So obviously 5 international goalkeepers and 5 random names from around the world. 1 point for each answer, yeah? Okay. I'm actually going to try and keep score today.
All right.
Let's see how this goes. New scoreboard, everyone. A new scoreboard. Right, yeah, so honestly, it's going to be tough.
Yeah,
It's not meant to be
I don't
easy.
expect it yet.
Right,
Yeah.
so number 1, Amal Knight.
No, not a keeper.
No goalie? You have to say no goalie or
No goalie.
He is a goalkeeper. He's Jamaica and Lexington SC goalkeeper. I've actually had a few fans on Instagram shout me to use this guy's name. So thanks for that.
Amal Knight.
Amal Knight.
Not heard of him, but
Yeah.
he's probably brilliant.
Yeah. Right, number 2, Camilo Vargas.
Yeah, he's a goalie.
Sure?
No, he's not a goalie.
It's up to you. Don't let me influence your opinion.
None of them sound like keepers. So.
Camilo Vargas.
No, he's not a goalie.
He is a goalkeeper.
What's the worst score anyone's got?
4.
Class.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. You just got to warm up into it. You've got to realise that it's all a trick, right? So he is Columbia and Atlas FC goalkeeper.
Right.
Right. Number 3, Ollie Russell.
Not a goalie.
He is not an international goalkeeper. He's next week's guest. Star of TikTok, father and son goalkeeper.
We spoke, didn't we?
Yes, exactly.
I should have got that.
You should have
anyway.
recognised that. So, right, 1.
What
Here
a
we go.
ledge.
Number 4, Lewis Strauss. Lewis Strauss.
Goalie.
Robert Downey Jr.'s character in Oppenheimer is
Oh,
not
literally.
a goalkeeper.
What am I? I watched that.
Did you watch that
about
film?
3 days ago?
Nice.
What is wrong?
Yeah.
Do you know what got me? When you corrected the name, I thought he's a keeper then because he's reading it.
Yeah, I'm reading it properly. No,
but you're watching Oppenheimer.
Lewis Strauss is not a goalkeeper from Oppenheimer.
That's crap from me. Isn't it?
Yeah, that's
I've
poor.
literally sat in the cinema and looked at him for 3
3
hours.
days, yeah, that's nice. That I love chucking them ones in. Right, number 5, Matija Sarkic.
Not a goalie.
He is a goalkeeper. You're having a
you're
stinker here. He is.
I
he's
knew
actually
that.
he's actually at Wolves.
Oh,
He is Montenegro
mate,
goalkeeper.
this is what's
he was
crap.
on loan at Stoke
I know
last
that
year.
lad.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know him by name, but I've seen that lad.
yeah, Matija
He
Sarkic.
got loaned out in Scotland as well, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he
Was that
went-
what you just said?
No, he was on loan last year at Stoke. He went to who did he go
He
to?
went- he
Hibs?
definitely-
Motherwell.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Anyway,
He
I know
went
the
to someone
lad.
in Scotland last
What is
year.
wrong with me?
You just you're overthinking it. All right, number 6.
There's nothing to think. It's
No,
just
it's
a
just,
guess.
it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Right, number 6, Hernando Ari Sutiardi.
Not a goalie.
He is a goalkeeper.
Sorry about this segment, by the way.
This is class. He is Indonesia
How many more have I
and
got?
Percy Abaya.
How many have we got left?
goalkeeper. You're still. Well, I'm on 7 next.
Christ.
Right, come on. Let's get a couple right now. Right,
Yeah.
number 7, Austin Post. You got no idea. This is class. I love it when it's like this. Austin Post.
I'm going to say he is a goalie. You're a shambles.
Post Malone is not an international goalkeeper.
Is that him?
Yeah.
That's his actual name?
Yeah, Austin Post. Post Malone.
I don't even care at this point.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the worst one here.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
One out of 7 so far. Come on, you can tie with
So bad.
What?
So bad. But like, you look at me every time like I should get this. I have no idea.
That's my poker face.
Yeah.
My old age leather skin. That. Right, number 8, Ruth Hadler.
Stop. Ruth Hadler. Goalie. I'd give up with this. Well, how am I supposed to know? Oh, she's Barbie. Okay.
She invented Barbie.
Right. Not a keeper then.
No, she is not a goalkeeper, mate.
You never know.
Inventor and creator of the Barbie doll with the release of the movie last week.
Got this terribly wrong.
Ruth Hadler. How have you gone for that?
Mate, you can't say that because it could have been like none of the names sound realistic.
Austin Post. Right, come on. Right,
Go
number
on.
9, Ibrahim Kone.
Not a goalie.
He's a goalie. It's the most footballer name ever, Kone. He is Guinea and Hibernian in Malta. He plays in Malta.
I can just see how disappointed you are.
Yeah.
But mate, I'm going to do
so
next
funny.
time. I'm going to send you a load of keepers, and you're going to have a go.
All right, no problem.
Because this is shocking.
Yeah. Right, number 10. Finally, number 10. Alfie Moon.
I've heard of that.
But why?
Yeah, I'm going to say he's not a keeper.
He is not a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
That's Shane Ritchie's character in EastEnders.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't watch that. I've never watched it, but I've heard of it.
Well, his scoreboard didn't really get much use today.
So bad.
2 out of 10.
But the problem is like, it is just a guess.
It is a guess.
It's complete
it's 50-50,
lottery.
and you were wrong 80% of the time.
Perfect. Sounds brilliant.
Oh, mate, that was my most enjoyable
was good, wasn't it?
goalie or no goal. I'm actually going to leave this
I'm
there.
just-
It's like a
I'm
walk of
just-
shame.
I'm good entertainment. That's the difference.
Mate, that was so funny. Proper enjoyed that.
I got that so wrong.
Right, let's go back to a bit of YouTube stuff, right? So where do you get your inspiration from and your content ideas? Is it all you, or are you getting ideas of people writing in? And
I think a lot of stuff I've definitely perhaps been the first to do, like in whether that's a good or bad thing, I don't know. But like I watch other keepers, I watch other creators to a degree, and sort of maybe put a twist on it. But it's not solely me.
Yeah.
Certainly not. No, but it comes from. I don't know. I'm quite a creative person, but again, it's just I just try and make training as enjoyable as possible.
Yeah.
And it can't always be like that, but I'd like to think I've set trends or whatever you want to call it on certain things for sure. But yeah,
no, and obviously from that, I wanted to know, where do you think that content creating, especially in the goalkeeping world, will go next? Will
scared
it be
for where it might go.
Are you really?
Well,
I think I think it will be like the next phase will be recreating memorable moments, memorable saves,
Yeah.
and like almost doing like flashback stuff. But the only problem with that is getting the footage, which obviously for like legal reasons you're not allowed to take.
I like that concept. I've done something like that before.
And break it down of how that goalkeeper made that save.
Yeah,
why
I'd like to think perhaps it will become more educational. For me personally, I'm like I was talking to you previously about playing and obviously club stuff, which is sort of what I'm thinking about at the moment. Yeah, I'd like to think it become a little bit more educational with the keeping. It's hard to know, really. It's just difficult. Like,
just trends, isn't it? Just whatever people are finding
enjoyable at the
to-
time. Yeah. No, I'm not sure with that one, but I'm interested to see. Obviously, I was one of the first keepers to sort of go and create content. I was one of 3 others probably, which is great. It's just there's a lot of people doing it now. There's a lot getting into it. So
right, and as we've alluded to or not spoke about yet, but you've managed to create new stuff yourself and open doors. Can you speak about your One Glove connection?
yeah.
Well, we'll start doing the glove review in a bit, but I want to talk about you being
Yeah.
exclusive to now the One Glove.
Yeah, so obviously I've had a couple of different brands over the years since I've been doing it, of course. Spoke probably, I think it's 6 months ago now. I've been with One Glove for about 6 months. Went up to the offices in Hertfordshire and spoke with Will and Miles. I'm sure you know Will and Miles. They're both great guys. Started talking about what we can do together, and I'm obviously exclusively with One Glove, and probably will be exclusively. Well, certainly will be exclusively with One Glove until I'm done keeping. Yeah. It's been amazing working with them. Obviously, we've just gone off to America, which has been fantastic, and getting to work and work alongside them, see what their pros sort of have available to them, and it's fantastic guys. The company's brilliant, and both just really normal. Like I think
They love their brand.
They
really love what they do.
and they both work they'll probably give me some stick, but they both work incredibly hard, to be fair to them. A lot harder than I do. So I love the brand, and
it must be a nice feeling to have that backing from such a large goalkeeping brand. And also them coming to you with ideas and you fulfilling that
for
almost.
sure. Like One Glove, even when I was younger and stuff, just I was aware of the gloves and such a massive brand here in the UK, and sometimes I think they don't quite understand how big that brand is and how well they're doing. But again, that's probably part and parcel of owning your own thing. But yeah, it's amazing to have a business like One Glove, and obviously the gloves are fantastic as well, just to fully support me in what I'm doing. So
Right, let's talk about the gloves then.
This is Matt Smith, and this is the glove review on the Yours, Mine, Away podcast.
And so obviously you wear the one glove. What range is it you wear?
Oh, can I grab them?
Yeah, of course you can.
I wear all sorts because, I'm not playing games, so I'm not overly superstitious. But this, for me, obviously the Geo is what I would prefer to wear if I was playing games. I love a white glove. I don't mind a bit of colour too, but I've always white palms for sure.
Obviously, Marcus Bettinelli's have been stained green by
he's obviously
artificial grass.
He's had some work in these. So, they're the ones for me. But like I said, because I'm not in games and stuff, I'm not overly superstitious. I'll try anything. But they've also got some good stuff up their sleeve coming, so that'd be exciting.
Obviously, you must be able to then test all upcoming products and make videos about that and content with other goalkeepers as well that they have.
Yeah, for sure. So just before we went away, they sent me a load of unreleased samples, which is really cool for me to try out. And then it's also interesting seeing like the different specs of what the actual players are wear. Like Freddie Woodman, Freddie, he's actually really easy. He's like, I'll wear anything. Don't really care. I've never had or encountered a keeper who isn't really that fussed. He's like their ledge. I'll just wear them. Like normally, you might want white palms, or you might want a certain cut or a fit, but he's like, yeah, whatever. And then you get, I won't say who or talk too much about it, but other people within football are just like, it has to be this, it has to be that, and I don't think there's a right or wrong, but. No. Yeah, it's cool for me to test upcoming products. So sorry, that was a long-winded way of saying that.
No, it's a nice. That's what I was getting to anyway. I think it's a legit experience for you to see the going on behind, and also what goes into each pair of gloves. That you've probably been privy to some of the stuff that a lot of our fan bases, both of our fan bases, would love to see. Yeah,
for sure. So obviously, even going into the... Have you ever been to the One Glove office?
I've not.
I can't imagine you have. No, shouldn't have anyway. But, even going up there and seeing what their day-to-day's like and product development and just everything that goes into what appears to be quite simple. Like obviously just something you put on your hand, but like it's incredible to see. And I think some young just keepers generally. I remember when Freddie came into the office and he was like a kid in a candy shop. Like he loved it. So it's really good.
There's so much out there. Right, what gloves? What size are you?
I'm a 9.5 or 10.
Yeah,
somewhere around that. Yeah, so quite big hands.
I normally ask how often you go through a pair of gloves, but because you're making videos and you need them to be look the best, do you just constantly changing your gloves?
Do you know what? I don't like. Everyone thinks that you must have a new pair of gloves every time you train. Like I normally. When we was in Texas, I was there for, America. I was there for 3 weeks, and I only used one pair of gloves. I don't actually go through gloves. It's more a case of like, if Will's on my case saying, "Look, can you wear these? Can you wear these?
These are the new
this
ones.
is what's coming out. Can you?" Yeah, then I'll change gloves. But generally, I don't really go through many. No. I mean, I want them to look good, of course, but I'm always on Astro, so they normally hold up okay.
Yeah. Do you wash them? Obviously, with Astro stuff, they sometimes stain black and stuff like that.
I wash them.
I'm
not.
No, you don't. That was a lie. That was an absolute lie.
I lied.
Yeah, that was a lie.
You know what? I would, but I am super lucky that like I can wear them and like. I'd wash them if I was playing games.
Yes.
Because then I'm like, I need these to be good.
Yeah.
But because I'm like training, it's like I can drop one and no one's going to tell me off.
No.
So
that must be. I don't mean like goalkeeping's edited, right? But obviously socials you can see. Look, I have to break in a new pair of gloves for like 2 training sessions.
Yeah,
I have to wash them a couple times so that they're ready for a Saturday. But like you can just put a brand new pair on. And do the sticky noise.
Yeah,
that all goalkeepers video do. Every goalkeeper brand does it now.
Normal,
they put up they'll just do that like video of that, and then you'll catch the first ball. But in reality, if you did that on a grass pitch on a wet day, like
it's not like that.
It's hard work.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm lucky that I can just chuck a new pair on and get on with it. But I don't go through as many gloves as you might think.
Yeah.
Like, and if I maybe I probably would if I was playing because I'd have match gloves and batter the ones in training, I suppose. But I don't think I'm much maintenance of gloves. They might tell you otherwise, but I'm all right.
So are you thinking about your camera angles now because you're exclusive to a glove? To get the best out of that product, or you just do you solely concentrate on your drills and what type of video you're making?
Yeah, it's more like you said. It's more what type of video I'm making. So I might make a video which is just solely producty, and it's not so much to keep, and I'm just showcasing the product. Yeah. But I've kind of got to the point where it's just like I'm just so used to doing it. I know what I'll do, and I know what's what, and that's it. But The best thing for me, and I always say this to literally everybody, is not really the entertaining stuff. It's more like I like the keeping where I get to train with the keeper.
Yeah.
Like, or if I get to go into a club, like Rob was saying about coming up the Gateshead, that'd be like the best week of my life because I would just be like, oh, I'm just training and I don't have to think about the camera.
Yeah.
But when I'm by myself and it's me and someone serving or whatever, then obviously I think about the camera quite a bit.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Right, I want to talk now before we finish up on that, but I want to talk about some of the keepers you have worked with and the experiences. So, like, you've already talked about Wayne Brown at Oxford.
Yeah,
like,
he's great, Brownie.
Obviously, Freddie, you've worked with a lot of very good goalkeepers, goalkeeper coaches through what you've done. Like, it's incredible that you're opening doors and managing to do stuff. Like, I've not trained with Freddie, you know what I mean? And I've not trained with Wayne Brown. And you've opened up so many doors from doing what you're doing. It is inspiring, mate.
Yeah, it's a different avenue, and I've been super lucky to train with some of the names. Bern Leno, I've had a session with Leno. I've had a session with Jordan Pickford. Luca Zidane, obviously Zidane's kid. He was great. But then also like some of the names which have actually really helped me along the way. Wayne Brown being a massive one. Harry Eistead, who's just gone to Charlton. He's a ledge, Harry, because he's probably what sort of drove me on to be a better keeper. Because whilst I was learning and getting better, I was training with Harry so much, and he's a fantastic keeper. He's technically like unbelievable, and he's just a ledge as well. And he drove me on a lot. Alex Bass is another one who's great. He's a ledge. I'm just trying to think now. Obviously Freddie. And one who I wouldn't say surprised because he's spent most of his life at Chelsea is Jamal Blackman. And when I trained with him, not that I didn't expect him to be amazing, but he was. You know when you train and you think like, I can score if I want to. If I'm serving, I think I'll be able to score one of these. Yeah. I could not score against Jamal. Like he's
a big guy. He's
like
as well.
6'7", and like he's a big boy and he's physically great. And I thought maybe he's going to be a little bit slow, or maybe he's because obviously he's tall.
Yeah.
But he was like he was agile like you were like 5'8". He was ridiculous, and I was actually quite frustrated. Like, you wouldn't know that, but it's not even like I could score if I wanted to. Like I was like serving him, and I was thinking like. He is just, you can't.
There's no gaps in the goal.
There's no gaps. I just couldn't score. And then I'm going in and I'm making some good saves, but he's also scoring. And I'm thinking like, fucking hell, he's decent.
He's decent,
yeah. He's probably the one who stands out where I was like, wow, I can't beat him.
Yeah.
But other than that, everyone else is just, they're all ledge really.
Yeah.
Like, the keepers, like you say, the Union, everyone's the same. Like they're all good as gold. Other than that one who messaged me, but like they're all ledge and. Yeah, I'm very lucky to do what I do, for sure.
I always end this on, what does the Goalkeepers Union mean to you? So you've linked it in perfectly there.
Oh, perfect, yeah. So just, again, it's like I said earlier, the position is like a totally different sport, and only goalkeepers will really understand how difficult it is, or I mean, all keeper coaches, but so many times when you get pundits, but you get outfield players, and they'll be commenting on what keeping's like, but only goalkeepers really know. And if you've been in there and you know how lonely it can be, but also just... It's just so fucking hard.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
So hard, like, and like you could like, I'm sure you know what it's like. You could have a game and you could lose 6-0, and you might have played great. And like certain things you're just not in control of. It's just the hardest position.
The conditioning to be a goalie is so different as well.
Physically as well. Like, because I remember when I was younger, even at Bournemouth, and it'd be Pat and Mark Childs in goal. I'll be looking over, like looking at what they're doing, and I think like, that looks like a piece of piss. I'd love to do that. Just diving around in the mud. And then you do it, and physically, oh my God, like just trying to get up all the time.
Yeah.
That's what I find the hardest, obviously being quite tall, is just getting off the ground.
Repetitive
diving.
diving.
Just over and over. Yeah. It's just horrendous. It's a blow. It's miles harder than people think.
Yeah.
It's worse than outfield stuff, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I've done both, and I know it's worse.
That's what I mean. Like, you can actually compare both. Like, we do running in pre-season.
Yeah.
But like, the only equivalent of that would be asking, see, like, we have to run every day in the off-season.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a fitness coach ever saying to an outfielder, you've got to do 10 dives a day in the summer. Because it would just be total bonkers. But goalies all run every day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, it's not even worth comparing. It's like a totally different sport. And like, I'd love to put some outfield players in goal. Because like, obviously I did it and it was a massive transition. But like, it's just fucking, like, it's so hard.
Yeah,
People think it's a piece of piss, but it's not.
It's not, no.
It's really, even like being technically good is so hard.
Yeah.
Like, you get top keepers who are not technically great. Like, it can happen, you can kind of get by and you'd be unorthodox and be a really good goalkeeper. But like, people think, oh, yeah, just dive around, just catch a few balls. Like, the ball's knuckling. And the football as well, this is the other thing. They're designed to go in. Like, every year the ball's getting wobblier. It's getting harder to read. It's like...
quicker as well.
Quicker. Like, it's just in favour of strikers.
Yeah,
I see the new championship ball. I think the Prem ball's going to go to Puma in a couple of years.
It is, yeah.
And I've used them, obviously, going in at Oxford and just using them anyway. And, like... They absolutely fly. It's going to be so hard.
That's what we use now. And
are you on them?
rapid,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course you are. You would be, yeah. They're nice, though.
They are lovely.
Yeah.
But not when it's wet and they've got that fresh gloss on.
It's mad. Singing around.
All right. Anyway, I'm going to have to end it there. But what an episode it's been. I've really enjoyed this,
I've enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on, mate.
No, thank you very much for coming on. What a lovely guy as well, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had a great
Ladies
time.
and gentlemen, Declan McCarthy. What a class act. This has been the Yours Mine Away podcast with me, Mark Howard. Please make sure you give us a follow and a 5-star rating. It really helps us grow. Leave a comment as well. All this sort of stuff helps. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
What a save from Mark Howard.